Data breaches are a confirmed incident in which sensitive, confidential, or otherwise protected data has been accessed and/or disclosed in an unauthorized fashion. Customers place 70% of the responsibility of protection and security of company data on companies and 30% on themselves. No one security product or control will prevent data breaches. The most sensible way is to use common sense security practices. These practices include vulnerability and penetration testing, malware protection, encrypting information, and using strong passwords and passphrases. A data breach could involve personal health information, trade secrets, or intellectual property. Exposures to data breaches include personal information, social security numbers, credit card numbers, and healthcare history. They could also involve corporate information like customer lists, manufacturing processes, and software source code. Data breaches occur because cybercrime is a profitable industry. Breaches occur for several reasons, even accidentally, but there are four ways they are typically carried out. The first is exploiting system vulnerabilities. If the software is out of date, it creates a hole that attackers can sneak malware onto a computer. The second is weak passwords. A hacker can guess an easy password, like ones with whole words or phrases. A third reason is drive-by downloads. Viruses or malware can be downloaded if you visit a compromised web page. These drive-by downloads take advantage of browsers, applications, or operating systems that are out of date or have security flaws. The last is targeted malware attacks. An attacker will use spam and phishing email tactics to trick a user to reveal user credentials, download malware attachments, or directing a user to a vulnerable website. Malware usually shows up as an email from an unfamiliar source. An example of a data breach is an attacker hacking into a corporate website and stealing data out of a database. Data breaches could also be as simple as an unauthorized employee looking over the shoulder of an unauthorized employee at a patient's medical information. HIPAA privacy rules state you must implement reasonable safeguards to limit incidental uses and avoid prohibited uses and disclosure of protected health information. Since 2016, there have been 172 ransomware attacks affecting 1,400 hospitals. This impacted roughly 6.6 million patients and averaged a $640,000 payoff to attackers. These attacks totaled over 157 million and numerous hours of downtime. Most notable breaches occur in the banking industry. Banks reported 927 incidents with 207 cases of confirmed data disclosure. The Equifax data breach, which occurred in 2017, compromised the personal data of almost 150 million Americans. The hackers discovered a flaw in the agency's security system that allowed U.S. consumers to dispute problems with their Equifax credit reports. This opened a door for hackers to steal customers' personal information. The cause of this breach was due to Equifax security. The breach occurred after Equifax security officials failed to install a recommended software update to seal off digital intruders from obtaining access to the names, birth dates, and social security numbers of the victims. In 2009, Heartland Payment System suffered the largest data breach to that time. Robert H.B. Baldwin Jr., Heartland's president and CFO, said, and I quote, "We understand that this incident may be the result of a global cyber fraud operation, and we are cooperating closely with the United States Secret Service and Department of Justice." End quote. 100 million card transactions a month are processed on the systems that were affected. It is estimated that the hacker impacted 130 million credit and debit cards. Another notable breach was in 2014 when Sony Pictures Entertainment's corporate network was shut down. Threat actors executed malware that disabled workstations and servers. The hackers called themselves Guardians of Peace, took terabytes of private data, deleted the original copies from Sony computers, and left messages that they would release the data if Sony did not comply with demands. Over 2 years, from 2013 to 2014, 3 billion user accounts at Yahoo were breached. This attack compromised the real names, email addresses, dates of birth, and telephone numbers. This attacker used a robust decrypt algorithm. A few months later, Yahoo was hit again, and a different group of hackers was able to acquire security questions and answers. In May 2019, First American Financial Corporation exposed 885 million records. These records included mortgage deals, bank account numbers, statements, mortgage and tax records, security numbers, wire transfer receipts, and driver's license images. The breach was caused by a website design error called Insecure Direct Object Reference. This is a type of access control vulnerability that arises when an application uses user-supplied input to access objects directly. An average enterprise data breach costs $1.41 million. IT security budgets now average $18.9 million. Companies are tightening security measures. Laws and regulations are in place requiring companies to take specific steps if they are breached or have any other type of security incident. States are requiring companies to send notifications to consumers when a data breach occurs. In May 2019, Representative Elijah E. Cummings introduced H.R. 2545, known as the Data Breach Prevention and Compensation Act of 2019. This act creates an Office of Cybersecurity at the Federal Trade Commission for the supervision of data security at consumer reporting agencies, establish standards for effective cybersecurity at consumer reporting agencies, and impose penalties on credit reporting agencies for cybersecurity breaches that put sensitive consumer data at risk. A similar bill, S. 1336, was introduced to the Senate in May by Senator Elizabeth Warren. Other regions enforce stricter policies. For example, the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation requires organizations to notify authorities of a breach within 72 hours. The GDPR not only applies to the EU, but can also apply to organizations outside the EU if they offer goods or services to EU data subjects. There is no one way to control or prevent data breaches. A most reasonable way is to use common sense security practices. Use the well-known security basics. Conduct ongoing vulnerability and penetration testing. Apply for proven malware protection. As a result, a business of every size and consumer needs to take steps to prevent a data breach. Keep only what you need. Inventory type and quantity of information in your files and on your computers. Reduce the volume of information you collect and retain only what is necessary. Don't collect or keep the information you don't need. Minimize the number of places you store personal private data. Know what you keep and where you keep it. Use strong, secure passwords. Monitor your bank and other financial accounts. Keep track of your accounts so that you can recognize the unfamiliar activity. Check your credit report. Checking your credit report will allow you to see if anyone has tried to open an account in your name. Safeguard data by locking physical records containing private information in a secure location. Restrict access to that information to only those employees who must have access. Shred paper files before disposing of private information. Destroy CDs, DVDs, and other portable media. Buy software designed to permanently wipe the hard drive or physically destroy the drive itself. Social security numbers should not be used as employee ID or client account numbers. Establish a written policy about privacy and data security and communicate it to all employees. Educate employees about what types of information are sensitive or confidential and what their responsibilities are to protect that data, and restrict employees' use of computers to business only. Set up password protection and timeout functions for all computers. Restrict telecommuting to company-owned computers. Require strong passwords that must be changed regularly. Keep security patches for your computers up to date. Use firewalls, antivirus, and anti-spyware software. Update virus spyware definitions daily. In a recent study, it was found that 72% of respondents were disappointed in the way notification was handled. 67% say the notification did not provide enough details about the breach. Furthermore, data breaches have an impact on whether the organization can keep its customers. Following the breach, 15% will terminate their relationship, and 35% say the relationship depends on whether the company suffers another breach. In conclusion, customers place 70% of the responsibility for the protection and security of customer data on companies and only 30% on themselves. Customer loyalty reports customers are reluctant to change their behavior even though they have become increasingly aware of cyber threats. When it comes to balancing convenience and security, customers trust that companies will keep their information safe. More than half of the customers surveyed by Gemalto admitted to having the same online password for multiple online accounts. In this same report, 60% of retail customers, 58% of banking customers, 56% of social media customers said they would stop using online services if a breach occurred. For a consumer, the consequences of a data breach can do serious damage to a person's finances. Nearly 6 in 10 customers are convinced that they will fall victim to a breach at some point in their lifetime. This lack of confidence is a lack of strong cybersecurity. For businesses, the consequences of a data breach can be severe and costly. Once a breach is discovered, the business is forced to disclose and must take remedial steps to repair the damage done. This is a painful process that can lead to loss in customer confidence, negative publicity, and profit loss. How many of us expect as a customer that when we purchase something, our data will be safe? How horrible would it feel to wake up one morning and find out that our information is being sold on the dark web? Or to find out that thousands of dollars of merchandise has been purchased in your name? What are you doing to protect your information?